Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Al Puglisi Trains. This is my Pugsburg layout. For those of you that might be new watching the channel, my layout is a fantasy layout. I'm freelance. I do what I like. I do what makes me happy. I do what might be believable. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Mount Rushmore it should be in West Virginia. So on my layout, it's in West Virginia. And the late, great modeler Harry Clark carved these heads out of oak and then made silicone rubber molds and made two other sets of Mount Rushmore. And before he passed away, he had the heads that he had cast in plaster. And nobody knows where the silicone molds are for these heads. They disappeared. So if anybody knows, please contact me. But Harry made two sets of Mount Rushmore, and one of them went to a collector, and another one went to his daughter that was a school teacher, evidently, I'm told, and it was stolen out of the classroom. So these were the last set of heads that I could get my hands on. And like I said, he gave me the heads before he passed away, and I converted it into a scene of what I think it would look like if it were in West Virginia. Now, next to it is a fantasy waterfalls that's like 400-foot drop. So you've got a fantasy scene here. You've got waterfalls on the right, hence the hole that you see up there. And you've got the Mount Rushmore here, and there's going to be viewing platform. And of course, you've got the big station that Howard custom built. Why? Because passengers are going to flock to this in the town of Winston to see it and to check it out. And they're going to stop at the station and they're going to check out this incredible site. So I'm going to take you on a journey of building this waterfalls on the channel. And let me show you how I do it. Well, the first thing that you need to do, and it's kind of common sense, but Howard Zane reinforces this with me a million times when I work with him. You need to have everything you need at your fingertips. You don't want to stop what you're doing to waste time and have to go out to the store, or to waste time, or to have a wrench in your project because you don't have the right stuff. Now, on my scenery, I've been using a combination of real moss. This is real moss. It's been preserved in glycerin and dyed. And I use real lichens. And I use some of these synthetic clumps. So a combination of these three with a heat gun and a hot glue gun, I should say, and hot glue sticks. And I'm going to flock this area to match the scenery. And the waterfall part will be the part that's done last. So let's get started on this. Now, before I get started, I do want to show you something. This was I used plaster cloth with this from Woodland Scenics instead of red rosin paper. Note all the tiny little holes that you see in the plaster cloth, okay? That all needs to be covered up, either smoothed out with plaster or covered up. Now with red rosin paper, you don't have all those millions of little holes. So you save time and you save mess and you save money. But in this case, I had quite a bit of plaster gauze-like wrap to use for the scenery, so I went ahead and did it, and I integrated some rock castings in that I had and dyed the rock castings. And now I'm ready to flock this. Well, I'm taking a break, folks, so let me show you what I did with this moss. First step, basically just tore random pieces of moss out. You can see that it's been dyed all different colors of greens. And I started patching areas of moss growth, grafting it in with the hot glue gun and spreading it out to match it in with the rest of the scenery. And you can notice that I'm leaving the center area open. I'm going to need to do that for the silicone. I'm going to use Howard Zane's method he discussed in the Alan Keller DVD video. I highly recommend that video. We don't sell it, but you can go to Alan Keller's Great Model Railroads or alankeller.com, and he did 3 DVDs on Howard's layout. He did Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. I'm not sure whether Volume 2 or Volume 3 has the waterfall demo in it, where Howard demos how to do waterfalls. But I highly recommend it, and I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to use that method. Essentially, the method is you take clear silicone caulk, and you essentially run it down where you want the caulk to go and let it dry. And I've discovered something interesting. Elmer's Clear Washable Glue. You can find this with the elementary school stuff at Walmart. This glue is crystal clear. It dries crystal clear. It's thick and gloppy. It fills cracks, and it's slow as it drips down. And I have found that using this is excellent for dripping water and for simulating creeks, waterfalls, and small puddles. For example, over here, what I'd like to do is in this crevice here, maybe have some water dripping out, coming down. And I'll use this Elmer's glue to do that. And that's an alternative to mixing up the Envirotex and using the Envirotex, which is more expensive. Now, I don't recommend, I have not used this product to pour deep ponds or deep riverbeds. I've only used this product to touch up Envirotex, to make things look wet, or to make waterfalls or small streams. But let's see what it looks like. Now, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some different foliage to this. I'm going to add some of the alternative Woodland Scenics clumps, maybe some lichen, and maybe some different foliage to further blend. And then we will do the water section. Well, we're back now after I've put in the waterfall. And as I said earlier, I used the GE silicone caulk clear method that Howard has used in the past. Now, this is odd because when I went and bought this GE silicone clear caulk and I went to use it with the caulk gun, I basically took the caulk gun and I just started caulking the silicone caulk down the waterfalls with the caulk gun along the scenery in long straight lines. And then I used a comb, or you can use a fork to tease the silicone on the way down to break it up, to get the globs out of it and to give it the illusion of running water on the way down. Now, Howard has, in his Alan Keller videos, has used Scotch tape or Scotch tape that's clear, and he's put it in and run it down in sections and used the Scotch tape to hold the silicone, which is fine if you need to do that. In this case, I didn't need to do that because it clung to the scenery as I worked its way down, all the way down. Now, at the bottom of the falls, I decided not to make a puddle at the bottom. I just shot for an ultra long falls. Now, I was a little bit disappointed because the silicone originally, even though it said it was clear, had like a grayish hue to it. It wasn't crystal clear. So when it dried, I ripped it out. And I went back to Home Depot and I bought some super crystal clear DAP caulk silicone that was called Super Clear. And I used it, and it was so super clear, you couldn't see it. And I'm like, this doesn't look like water. You can't even see it. So I pulled everything out, and I went back and did exactly what Howard had said originally, just to use the GE clear silicone, had a little bit of gray hue in it. Went ahead and took the caulk gun, and went down, then took actually, I used a plastic fork to tease it. I didn't want to piss off my wife taking one of her hairbrushes. And after it was teased, I let it dry, and then it was dry brushed with some Pullman green, little bit of Pullman green, and then when the Pullman green dried, I went back over it with some flat white and dry brushed it, and it really, really looks nice. It really came out nice. And standing back here, it really looks like a real waterfalls. And even when you get up close to it, it looks like a raging waterfalls. And Howard and I will make some more videos of waterfalls, and Howard is better at it than I am. This is my first attempt, and you know, it was a learning process for me, but I'm very happy with the way it came out. And it completed this fantasy scene here, so the passengers can stop at the Howard Zane custom built station, and I'm going to build a viewing platform here so people can see the Mount Rushmore and the falls. And of course, it's a major tourist attraction for the town of Winston, with an accompanying lodge for visitors. Folks, if you like what you saw, please subscribe. It helps promote the channel. And if you want to see some how to do it videos, go to my playlist and click on how to do it videos. Thanks so much for watching.